Ratatouille, that's Ratatouille, brought on a picnic. Carry beep.
this motion. Oh, yeah, you got it.
We got a couple of things before that. What is today's date? I don't even know. I gotta go back up here.
May 8th.
May 8th. All right, we will restart this meeting to order, call this meeting to order of the Madison County School Board on May 8th, 2023. We have a couple business items that we have to take care of before we get into the meeting. Our first business item is to certify our closed meeting session, and I will open the floor for that motion.
I make the motion, whereas the Madison County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Therefore, be it resolved that the Madison County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies. And only public business matters were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
All right, we have a motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Ms. Patterson, will you read the roll?
Mrs. Allen?
I certify.
Mr. Marks?
I certify.
Mr. Sheets?
I certify.
Mr. Wingate?
I certify.
Ms. Collier?
I certify. Right, our next agenda item is the pledge. Would everyone please stand? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you all join me in a moment of silence, please? Thank you. Right, our next agenda item is item number 6, personnel matters. And I will open the floor for a motion to approve the personnel matters.
I'll make a motion to approve the personnel matters and addendum for May 8th, 2023 to include appointments, resignations, terminations, and summer school and Camp Unikite appointments as presented with the exception of employee number 6.
All right, we have a motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion passes. Our next agenda item is the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the May 8th, 2023 consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as on the agenda.
We have a motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carries. All right, this is my favorite month of being on the school board. We have all kinds of recognitions and presentations. And we will start with the Employee of the Month. Ms. Graham?
Jeanette Alexander is going to come forward to do the Employee of the Month. Ms. Alexander.
Is this on? Testing. All right. All right, where is she? Behind you. Turn around. Mad Explorers Cross Stitch, Unikite, Special Education Chair in Waverly Yale, at Waverly Yale, Special Education Case Manager and Classroom Teacher, member of the High Leverage Community of Practice, Back to School Event Committee member of the Writing Team, 4-H. This list says much, but it does not say it all. It is my honor tonight to recognize Jessica Henshaw, the division's Employee of the Month for May. Mrs. Henshaw is a dedicated teacher, devoted colleague, and reliable employee. Having worked with Mrs. Henshaw on various projects and observed her in the classroom setting, I have personally experienced the intensity and purpose she applies to all aspects of her job. She executes her duties as teacher with the goal of making sure all of her students' needs are met, clearing the path to progress and achievement. This is no small feat. Mrs. Henshaw has the largest caseload this year with 20 students. She works with the other teachers and assistants in 2 classes to make sure students are provided with the support and service they require. Mrs. Henshaw's willingness to work with others for the betterment of her school community is evident based on her interactions and the positive outcomes she achieves. It is a rare occurrence to see her without a ready smile. I cannot recall a time when I have left her presence without hearing her easy laughter. Mrs. Henshaw is a team player. No matter the project, situation, or problem, she actively seeks solutions. Though the tasks required may appear quite daunting initially, one can literally see the gears turning as Mrs. Henshaw begins scripting a plan of action. Most recently, Mrs. Henshaw worked with other special education department chairs and the Director of Student Services to complete the work required for a special education audit. In addition to other obligations and responsibilities, Mrs. Henshaw met after school and during the weekend to complete this massive project. Her efforts as part of the collective allow for timely completion of the project. Mad Explorers, Unikite, Special Education Chair, Special Education Case Manager, Classroom Teacher, High Leverage Community of Practice, Back to School Event Committee, the Writing Team, 4-H. This list says much, but it does not say it all. Thank you, Mrs. Henshaw, for your dedication to our students, devotion to your colleagues, and your reliability. Oh, thank you.
Y'all may as well just stand there for a second. Congratulations, Ms. Henshaw.
Thank you.
I know. All right. The next item, that next recognition is Senior of the Month, Miss Wenham, and yeah, Miss Wenham. Thank you.
Okay. Testing. I don't want to keep saying it.
Just yell.
Hello.
Oh, there we go.
Does it work?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we have 2 seniors for this month, one for April, one for May. Is Wade Fox here? I think he's still at we have an award banquet going on, an award assembly. So I'm going to read Wade, and then I do have Tommy Wood here, who he's actually going to do a presentation for us. So we're excited about that. Yeah. So Wade Fox was for April. Wade is always present when you need him and understands the importance of showing up. For example, he has had perfect attendance from 9th through 12th grade. Wade has participated in athletics every season since entering high school. For varsity athletics, he has played football and basketball all 4 years and has played varsity baseball since 10th grade. So think about this. For 12 seasons straight as a high school student, he has immersed himself on 12 different athletic teams, which have provided him with ample opportunities to observe, learn, and practice essential teamwork and leadership skills. Wade also maintained a competitive 4.0 grade point average, served as the editor of the MCHS yearbook, and during his time off in the summer, he is employed serving the community and also working for his family-owned business. Wade is always planning and focusing on how his current actions can help in achieving the goals set ahead. My conversations with Wade are often visionary ones, and he shows a strong desire to gain experiences that will help him grow and achieve his goals. While he is also very competitive and wants to outperform everyone and win, he is also able to adjust and accept when things don't go quite his way. Wade, thank you for your dedication to MCHS. So I'll get his certificate to him. I really don't feel like this is working, but Tommy Wood, will you please join me up here? Wade got to escape the embarrassment of me reading and standing beside me. And is Miss Cunningham here? Hello. She didn't trust that I could do the write-up, so she messaged me. She's like, can I still present? Just kidding. This is Miss Cunningham, and she has been our forensics coach this year. She took on the program for those of you guys that don't know her, and she'll also be starting drama for us next year. So I had the pleasure of working with her in Albemarle, and she's joined us for this and helped Tommy get on his feet. So I'm going to say a few words, you're going to say a few words, and then Tommy's going to show us what he did. What?
Say a lot of words.
He's going to say a lot of words. He's going to perform his state performance for us. So it is my honor to recognize and showcase Mr. Tommy Wood, MCHS senior, who has excelled throughout his 4 years as a high school student and overall community member of Madison County. His involvement in multiple student leadership organizations and his commitment to academic success is admirable. Tommy played a large role in reestablishing our MCHS forensics team this school year, and as soon as the coach was announced, he attended the interest meeting, and from there, his success story began. Tommy made it a priority to practice and utilize feedback from his coaches to make it all the way to the Forensic State Championship with his original piece titled Virtual Pandemic, which focuses on internet gaming disorders. At this time, I'd like to invite Tommy to perform his piece for all of us in attendance tonight, which has also been published in our school's literary magazine, Priscillo. So I'm going to let you go, and then Ms. Cunningham, do you want to conclude after he does?
Sure.
Or do you want to just say something before he goes?
No, I can conclude.
Okay.
And for the first time, I'm going to get the last word.
As long as it's not another critique session. Yes. Yes, of
And
course.
he doesn't really need a microphone, but he projects really well, but he can do what he needs to.
I'll be presenting this way, so that's cool. Hello, everybody. Slouched in front of the screen. All background noise has faded into oblivion. I am entirely enthralled by the skill challenge that lays before me. There's some sort of whining in the background. Don't really hear it. The only things in my world are the controller in my hands and the screen mounted in front of my face. I twist my body, tasting victory as my thumbs fly across the controller. I did it! I beat the level in record time. That's when I notice it. The baby that had been crying in the other room was silent now. Although this may be a fictional story, it has a tone that rings all too prevalent among the real victims of internet gaming disorder. Defined by psychiatry.org as a level of gaming leading to significant impairment or distress in several aspects of a person's life, internet gaming disorder, classified alongside gambling disorder, is a behavioral addiction that has increased to the point of becoming damaging to a person's lifestyle. With the release of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders 5th edition, or DSM-5, in 2013, came many revisions upon previous versions. One of these revisions includes an added excerpt about something called gaming addiction. It states that this gaming reliance is a condition warranting more clinical research and experience before it might be considered for inclusion in the main book as a formal disorder. Although the DSM-5 alludes to gaming addiction, I believe that it requires more recognition in the medical world as a legitimate disease. Why? Because it is just that, a disease. And this disease requires a better definition in the present day. After all, the DSM-5 came out over a decade ago. Enough time for its pages to yellow and its information to date accordingly. A decade is enough time for anything to date, but time is an especially prevalent issue in a field with such rapid advancement as the medical field. This modern disease needs a modern definition. When made a disease, which I'm confident will be, internet gaming disorder will be classified as a behavioral addiction. The only other one mentioned in the DSM-5 being gambling disorder. And I believe that this is significant as the two have recently become rather intertwined, especially with the onset of online gambling. It seems to me you can hardly open a web browser without an advertisement for an internet casino popping up, or some sort of slot machine flying in your face. Why then? If these two diseases are so intimately linked, are there so many gambling help associations? Well, there is so little help for gaming addicts. As I see it, this is most likely due to the fact that most people don't see this pandemic as a legitimate disease. Parents see teenagers sitting on computers and think, well, at least I know where they are, or better sitting here than out there causing trouble. Meanwhile, these same teenagers are pursuing a debilitating addiction without so much as a second thought. As previously mentioned, the story I told at the beginning may have been fictional, but I can promise you this is a legitimate disease. The National Library of Medicine estimates that I, along with 97% of Americans between the ages of 12 and 17, am an enjoyer of video games. This is why I feel so confident telling you, video games are intended to get you addicted. I have sat through many a class at school, ignoring the teacher, while preferring to think about how I'm going to beat the next level when I get home. I have often left homework undone, preferring to make fictional advancement in a virtual world over factual learning in a real one. I have a disease, not one that can be caught by a cough or a sneeze, nor one that can be treated by medication or surgery. Yet I have a disease nonetheless. My disease includes gaming to a level that produces significant impairment or distress in several aspects of my life. But I'm done talking to you about my disease. I want to talk to you about solutions. In 2011, South Korea's government released the Cinderella Act. This act requires all citizens to enter their national ID into gaming websites. Only those over the age of 16 are allowed access between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. Although something like this would likely never be able to be instituted in the US, it is still a good example of a real-life solution to a real-life problem. Personally, I think that the US needs a form of support therapy, a place where people seeking help could go to feel safe and understood without being made to feel sick and shamed. Video games can be a great way to spend a few hours on an otherwise boring afternoon. But it is important for us to remember that everything has both a time and a place. When this is forgotten, an enjoyable pastime can be turned into a debilitating addiction and eventually a destructive disease. I challenge you, therefore, as fellow members of humanity, help to raise awareness and find solutions for this virtual pandemic. I implore you, open your eyes and close your screens.
I never get tired in hearing this speech. I don't know if you realize this, Betty Jo, but Tommy has been wanting to be on a forensics team since he was in 8th grade, to really compete and use his powerful voice, as you know, that he has by listening to him. Not only is he a great writer, but during all the processes of all of our practices, he never just let the speech sit there. He was always researching, and then researching again, editing, rewriting, and perfecting his speech every time he went to a competition. He won first place at regionals that was actually hosted here proudly at Madison High School. He aided his team in winning the second place trophy, which is on display in the front lobby. If you haven't had a chance to see it, go look at it in all your spare time. And then he won third place at Super Regionals and then went on to represent Madison High School at the state level, his first and only year here on this team. So I can't tell you how proud I am of him and the entire team, and I have so thoroughly enjoyed working with you, and it's been quite an honor. And you have been successful this year, but with that voice and all your abilities, we know that there are many successes for you down the road. So thank you. It's been quite a pleasure. And thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah, you can say, he wants to say something.
I'd like to say that throughout my time in forensics, it has been an honor, and my personal category has been original oratory, in which I create a speech and I work on it and I put research in it and I put effort in it, and I get this final product that I can present with confidence. And I'd like to say that one thing that really helps me during that is the Madison Library and the free information available there. And I'd like to say that free information is a very powerful thing and that it really helps us all as students. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Tommy.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is the Student Art Show, and Ms. Graham?
Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, our Fine Arts Department hosted an art show combined with a spaghetti dinner from the Band Boosters, and the jazz band performed, the color guard, some middle school musicians were there, and we had 2 local artists, Lou Mesa and Larry Patterson, judged, well, kind of sort of judged, looked at the art pieces from each school and awarded 3 ribbons of excellence. So not a first, second, or third place, just work that they really felt stood out for each school. And we've invited those wonderful artists here tonight to receive a certificate. But we also want to thank our art teachers and our band teachers, so Danielle Nutter, Katie Gelati, Anna Mann, Jennifer Junto, Allison O'Brien, and Sarah Humphreys for putting on that evening, along with the Band Boosters. All right, so you're actually going to see each piece of art as we call the student down. And I'll give the certificates. So first we have Ellis Dwyer, if you could come down, if you're here this evening. Here, okay, next. Lovely Nicholson, are you here this evening? Chloe Soto. Congratulations. Okay, Sarah Herring. Okay, next. Sanaya Lewis. I hope you guys back there can see the detail in these pictures. Okay, next. Kaylee Johnston. And this one, by the way, why this one's on the screen, if you can go back one, this is 3rd grade. And if you look at the shading on this picture and how it's done, 3rd grade. Okay, next. Aiden Nichols.
He's like, where do I look?
Sophia Claflin. Next. Stella Dodson. Next. Ashton Leach. Next. Esther Bannister. And the final one, Tylee Coates. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all, and congratulations to all those wonderful artists. Our next section of our agenda is our Teaching, Learning, and Caring Awards.
All right, this evening we are recognizing the recipients of the Teaching, Learning, and Caring Awards for Madison County Public Schools. The schools have selected the teachers and staff members that they believe most deserve each of these awards. The Teaching Award honors those teachers who model creativity, passion, and new approaches, and a deep love for the field of education. The Learning Award honors those teachers who believe learning is about change, becoming better, smarter, faster, and developing and modeling new skills. The Caring Award honors those staff members who go above and beyond in showing kindness, compassion, respect, trustworthiness, and generosity. Each principal will come forward and present the recipients of each award from their schools, and we'll start with the primary school.
Welcome, everyone. I am happy tonight to recognize Erin Mitchell as the recipient of the Teaching Award at Madison Primary School. Erin has been with us for 3 years now and has done nothing but impress. In my opinion, there are 3 things that great teachers all have in common. One is a strong professional knowledge base. Simply stated, they are well-versed in best practices. 2, they love and appreciate children, instinctively placing them at the base of their decision-making process. And 3, they possess an energy level commensurate with that of a nuclear reactor. You will notice that only one of these 3 traits can be learned in the classroom, which is why a great teacher is defined not only by what they do, but also by who they are. No one exemplifies these 3 traits more than Erin. If you were to walk into Erin's classroom with the intent of noting each research-based instructional or management technique that she used, good luck keeping up. She's a dynamo in the classroom and has an uncanny knack for maintaining an awareness of her surroundings, that ever-important eyes in the back of the head skill. While all of this is great for the students, it can make discussions following a formal lesson observation a little awkward. As an administrator, I always want to provide some insight for teachers and possibly suggest a small change that might have improved the lesson. My conversation with Erin might be, great job. Maybe use the blue markers next time. But again, teaching is more than this, and I'll offer an example. During Erin's first year with us, and as we approached the Christmas holiday, I noticed that all of Erin's students had new knit hats, all in Madison blue and white and varying in style. Assuming that Erin had gifted them to the children, I asked her where she found them. She responded, "Oh, I made them. I do it every year." Now, this might seem like a small act, but it told her students that each and every one of them are worthy of her time and effort. And believe me, the children wore those hats with pride, both inside and outside. Erin saw value in the time that it took her to knit those hats, just as she finds value in the time she has spent directing a very popular after-school drama class and the time she has dedicated to our summer school program. All of this in addition to the skillful execution of her job responsibilities. These are the things that define who Erin is as a teacher, and we are blessed to have her at MPS. Congratulations, Erin, and thank you for what you do for our children. I'm also pleased tonight to recognize Kendall Fears as the recipient of our Learning Award at Madison Primary School. Kendall's dedication to learning goes far beyond her classroom, but make no mistake, her classroom is the quintessential learning environment. Students love being in Kendall's class, and it's easy to see why. The environment that she has established for them is no small contributing factor. Kendall's students are confident in 3 things each day as they walk into her classroom. 1, there will be an expectation of respect and responsibility, not only in their interactions with the teacher, but with one another as well. 2, they will understand that effort leads to success, and they will learn. And 3, they will be loved. Students also come to understand that regardless of their level of success with 1 and 2, 3 is unconditional. The environment of structure and love is perfect for a kindergarten classroom and a notable factor in Kendall's success in prioritizing learning. As I alluded to earlier, Kendall promotes learning outside of her classroom as well. She was on the ground floor of establishing our division's Reach It Through Reading, or Ritter program, a mobile effort to keep books in the hands of children over the summer, and continues to join the Ritter crew for deliveries each year. Kendall is also an annual participant in the county's Camp Unikite, a summer learning and enrichment program, and is always willing to help out with a variety of extracurricular activities throughout the county. Kendall, of course, is not one to promote learning only for the county's children, so she also facilitates a college-level course on the science of reading for teachers across the county. Through all of this, Kendall has not forgotten her own learning, most recently engaging in an educational leadership program that will result in her endorsement in administration and supervision. This not only is further evidence of Kendall's worthiness of this award, but it also makes her eligible for the What Are You Thinking Award. But in all seriousness, Kendall will be successful in anything she chooses to do because she arms herself with the knowledge necessary to achieve at a high level. It is this, coupled with her ability to transfer that thirst for knowledge to her students, that makes her so deserving of this award. Congratulations, Kendall, and thank you so much for your advocacy of learning. I'm proud to announce tonight that Laura Burbridge is the recipient of the Caring Award at Madison Primary School. Many of you might remember Laura as the kind face that greeted you when you visited the school board office, where she spent a number of years serving the needs of children behind the scenes. I had the good fortune of working more closely with Laura during the 2019-2020 school year. During that time, our kindergarten program was housed at the school board office while our building was being renovated, and I came to appreciate her kind and caring nature. Our relocation for the year also allowed Laura to more closely observe the operations behind a typical school day, and yet for some unbeknownst reasons, she still agreed to join our faculty and staff at MPS. We are ever so grateful that she did. Laura has been an integral part of our school's reading intervention program and has undoubtedly enhanced that program throughout her time with us. Laura always has a kind word for everyone she passes in the hallway of the school, and her positive attitude is uplifting to all of those around her, none more important than the children she serves. Laura's students can clearly see that her kindness is genuine, and the result is a group of comfortable and confident learners. Laura also has never shied away from any assigned duty, oftentimes being asked to cover areas of need at a moment's notice. While I might occasionally get a quick look of fear or anxiety from her, she always completes her assignment with a high degree of effectiveness and a smile on her face. Laura, I know that we don't say it enough, but all of us at MPS are so pleased to have you as a part of our school family, and I hope that you understand tonight just how deep and sincere those feelings are. Thank you so much for being that light that brightens the day for all of us, and congratulations on this well-deserved recognition.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to start out with our teaching award for Waverly L, and recipient is Mrs. Rebecca Bader. Mrs. Bader has been with Madison County Public Schools for 26 years. I've had the pleasure of being both her colleague and supervisor. Rebecca's passion for teaching and love of children is obvious as soon as you step into her classroom. She has great understanding of her students and ensures they receive the instruction they need to succeed. Watching her small group instruction is something of a marvel. Each group is different and specifically tailored for those students. It is evident that much planning and thought go into each and every lesson. Mrs. Bader cares deeply about each one of her students. You'll find her each afternoon personally walking her class to their buses while telling each one of them she loves them. She's always more than willing to spend extra time with them after school to give them that extra boost when needed. Furthermore, she does a fabulous job working and communicating with families on a daily basis. You often find her at school on a Sunday afternoon preparing for the upcoming week. I often joke with her and ask her if she ever sleeps. Rebecca is a wonderful teammate to the third grade team. She's a team player with a wealth of knowledge in reading instruction. Some people are just born to be teachers. Mrs. Bader is definitely one of those individuals. It is a great pleasure to honor you as Waverly Yowell's recipient of our Teaching Award for the 2022-2023 school year. We appreciate all that you do for our students. Up next is our Learning Award recipient, Mrs. Hillary Utes. Mrs. Utes joined our Waverly family this year as our new instructional coach. This job includes many responsibilities such as being our school's testing coordinator, mentoring and coaching teachers, working with students, creating assessments, sharing instructional materials, and providing professional development. Needless to say, there was much to learn in this new role. Hillary embraced these new challenges seamlessly. What stands out to me about Mrs. Utes is that while learning and taking on so many new responsibilities, she always has a positive attitude and fabulous work ethic. Hillary has a drive and passion concerning education. She has a strong desire to help others and will drop whatever she is doing to lend a helping hand. Hillary has worked diligently creating learning communities which allow our teachers the opportunity to share ideas and reflect on their teaching practices. Furthermore, if learning a new job wasn't enough, she is currently also pursuing a master's degree in teacher leadership. We have been blessed to have such a knowledgeable, hardworking individual come to Madison County. Mrs. Utes, you are wonderful assets to our school and are greatly appreciated. Congratulations on being selected as our Learning Award recipient for the 2022-2023 school year is greatly deserved. And last but not least, our Caring Award recipient, Mrs. Rachel Dove. Rachel Dove joined our Waverly family as one of our new school counselors. To say that she has made an impact on our school would be an understatement. Rachel hit the ground running on day one, being the person our students could seek out whenever they had a need. Rachel is an enthusiastic team member who is full of great ideas and is always willing to go the extra mile to support staff and students. She has worked extremely hard revamping and revitalizing our STAR program through creating multiple opportunities for student recognition. Furthermore, she and the other counselors are implementing a new jobs program for our 5th grade students next year. This will teach them both responsibility and give them a sense of school pride. Rachel can be entrusted to multitask and manage the chaos that often comes with being an elementary school, in an elementary school. Even though Mrs. Dove is new to the school counselor role, one would never know that. She is wise beyond her years and is a natural fit as a leader to our staff and students. Rachel has been a wonderful addition to our school and, more importantly, to our students. Congratulations on being our Caring Award recipient for the 2022-2023 school year. You are so worthy of this honor.
Good evening. I am pleased to announce our teaching recipient for Wetzel Middle School is Miss Grace Estes. Miss Estes has been selected by her colleagues as William Wetzel's Teaching Award recipient. Miss Estes is only in her 2nd year of teaching, but make no mistake that even in the short start to her career, her strengths are shining bright. She is one of the most hardworking and dedicated professionals new to the teaching field. Ms. Estes is an integral part of the 8th grade team and English department. She is also the gifted and talented sponsor at Wetzel. She's always one of the first to volunteer, help problem solve, and keep an optimistic outlook, even in the most challenging situations. Ms. Estes is enthusiastic about English and helps her students no matter what it takes.
She faithfully dedicates her time after school to provide extra learning support when students are in need. She consistently seeks out best teaching practices and embraces professional learning. The positive relationships Ms. Estes has with her students is built upon high expectations, a desire to instill a passion for writing and literature, and the truest of true understandings of what it's like to just be an 8th grade kid. Ms. Estes gets them and can meet them where they are, whether it be a good day, bad, or in between. I'm honored to congratulate you, Grace Estes, on this accomplishment so early in your career. We're fortunate to have you in Madison County and look forward to the many years and many students' lives you have yet to make an impact upon. Congratulations on your well-deserved award. All right, Mrs. Mary Ann Hankla. I had the honor of speaking last week at the Senior of the Month and Retirement Banquet to honor and celebrate Mrs. Hankla's accomplishments throughout her 34 years of teaching. It came as no surprise when her colleagues voted her to be this year's Learning Award recipient. Over the course of 34 years, in roles such as school counselor, English teacher, grade level chair, and department chair, it's hard to imagine the impact she has had on so many of our Madison students and the learning that has occurred as a result. When identifying the characteristics and qualities of a teacher who excels in helping students learn, there are several that come to mind. Kindness, adaptability, supportive, and collaborative are some of those qualities that come to mind when I think of Mary Ann. She's created an environment where students feel comfortable asking questions and exploring new ideas. Research shows that students learn best when they're actively engaged in the learning process and are given opportunities to share their experiences and ideas. Mrs. Hankla creates these opportunities for her students and holds them accountable for their role in the learning process. Without question, Ms. Hankla is extremely deserving of this award this evening, and I'd like to take the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Wetzel family and all of those who have known you to say, job well done. And Miss Liz Ford. Mrs. Ford is one of the backbones of Wetzel Middle School. She carries the title of media specialist / librarian. However, those titles cannot describe or convey who she is and what she does for so many. I can easily add a large list of adjectives to paint a more accurate picture. Ms. Ford, she's a mentor, a cheerleader, a motivator, listener, advocate, believer, collaborator, and supporter. She's loving and nurturing and shows compassion to all students she encounters, as well as our staff and many of the families. She has the innate ability to make a complete stranger feel as though they have known each other for years. Without fail, when teams meet to brainstorm ideas and interventions for students who are in need, Mrs. Ford's name is one of the first mentioned as a mentor or trusted adult. When a staff member just needs to vent, be given some sound advice, or just needs to hear that Liz Ford laugh and experience her joy, they find their way to the WMS library. Liz, as you're honored yet again for the Caring Award, there can be no mistake that you are the most deserving as your Wetzel family continues to value, appreciate, and know that you are forever deserving and so much more. Congratulations, and thank you for who you are for our students, their families, our school, and for me. Congratulations. Yes.
Good evening again. I would like to recognize Miss Shannon Johnston, who is our Teacher of the Year at Madison County High School. Mrs. Johnston's classroom is designed around rigor, high expectations, meaningful feedback, and student engagement with the aligned standards of her courses. This year, she has taught a combination of courses and students in grades 9 through 12. Her courses include economics and personal finance, government, World History 1 honors, and the Blue Ridge Virtual Governor School Senior Capstone course. Mrs. Johnston is punctual, organized, and by far a teacher that students respect and value for not only her content knowledge and skilled approach to teaching, but her utmost professionalism. She is fair in her approaches to classroom management and behavior intervention, known for her partnership approach with families for student success, and a personality that exudes warmth, acceptance, and overall concern for everyone. Last Monday night, as mentioned earlier, we had our Senior of the Month banquet where each senior invites the teacher that has made the biggest impression and/or impact on their life and then recognizes them with their own words. Aaliyah Ayler chose to recognize Miss Johnston, and her words are much more important for you to hear than mine. So I got permission and asked Aaliyah to email me what she said. And here's what Aaliyah said. Throughout all of high school, Mrs. Johnston has always been one email away. She is an individual who will help you with anything you ask her to without blinking an eye. She truly goes above and beyond the expectation of a teacher. For our senior capstone project, she could have just given us our project and told us to complete it and graded us along the way, but yet she offered every bit of help that she could while we were completing it. No matter how big or small of an issue I came to her with, she was always willing to help. She was also so excited to see each and every student succeed in and out of school. Mrs. Johnston has an admirable personality. She is someone I look up to each and every day. Many times, my friends and I would talk about which teacher would we want to be like when we were adults, and without a shadow of a doubt, I would always answer that question with Mrs. Johnston. She is an empathetic and genuinely kind individual who genuinely cares about each and every student. She never fails to say hi to you when you pass her in the halls or when I pass by her classroom and she is standing outside. Aside from teaching, Mrs. Johnston is also the senior class sponsor, so the next 2 weeks are especially important and busy for her as she continues to teach classes and plans the finale for our seniors, MCHS graduation. She does an excellent job communicating with our seniors and their families to ensure that the day goes smoothly and everyone is prepared. Shannon, thank you for all you have already done this year and the many things you still have ahead of you that we know with certainty will be accomplished with great detail, dedication, and success. As principal and the lead learner of the building, I am very lucky to have you on my team, and I hope to continue learning from you for many years to come. Shannon Johnston. Our second recipient at the high school is for the Learning Award, and that's Mr. Mark Arrington. And I'm going to call him out a little bit, but he's getting an award, so it's like really positive. But I just want to shed light on what led to this award. The previous 2 school years, as we all are aware, were not quote-unquote normal or ideal for educators, and we all were pushed out of our comfort zones. While this time required all of us to learn new things and try different approaches, it also required all of us to transition back to what is almost normal again. At the end of last school year, Mr. Arrington made it known that he was going to make a comeback and perform stronger than ever before during the 2022-23 school year. He met with Mr. Lunsford and myself and was very transparent about how he wasn't satisfied with where he was professionally as a teacher, and he just thought he could do better. And Mr. Lunsford and I just left impressed and really just had a respect for his ability to self-reflect and be honest that he wanted to do better. So now, fast forward to spring 2023, and the staff was tasked with selecting the person who believes learning is about change, becoming better, smarter, faster, and developing and modeling new skills. This person clearly was Mr. Arrington, but for great reason. Mr. Arrington was transparent about his goals to increase student achievement, engagement, and relevance by improving his own practices with designing quality and innovative lessons within the physical education classroom as well as driver's education. Many of these lessons also involved other colleagues, which not only facilitated increased learning for students, but it added professional learning experiences for our teachers this year. This year, he strategically planned experience for students to learn and engage outside of the classroom and gym walls by attending classes at different local studios and gyms, which included students going to Fly Dog Yoga, Posture Pilates Studio, CrossFit of Culpeper, Rose River Farms, and Zoom Charlottesville Spin Studio. One day, while on lunch duty, Mr. Arrington gained my attention, and he asked me to just observe. He pulled me to the door, and he was like, Ms. Wenham, sit here and just look at these students in here participating in a lesson he designed using high-intensity interval stations. So it's like HIIT workouts, like stations going around the gym, and the kids were just going. And he was so amazed, and he was so happy by how the students got into themselves and held themselves accountable throughout the class by transitioning without cue from one activity to the next. The joy and pride that I observed from Mr. Arrington in this moment made me realize that not only is this a celebration, an awesome thing to observe from our students, but it's a testament to his commitment to improve and design learning that is student-centered and that students respect and respond to. Mr. Arrington, thank you for modeling and proving for all of us that with reflection, goal setting, and intentional planning, your job and your experience as a teacher can be transformative. Thank you, Mr. Arrington. Thank you. And our last but very special award is awarded to Miss Farmer, which I should get through this without crying, but no promises because she's my right hand and left hand. So I found this quote, and it said, "Surround yourself with people who reflect who you want to be and how you want to feel. Energies are contagious." And this, Miss Farmer is one of the reasons that I think when you come into our school, you get a special feeling because she rubs off on all of us in such a positive way. Working to build a school culture that is student-centered, supportive, joyful, and overall enjoyable to be a part of is made possible by employees like Michelle Farmer. Luckily for me, Ms. Farmer is ingrained into the routine and my non-routines of my everyday life as a high school principal, as we are office mates, and I get to witness every single day the reason why our high school staff overwhelmingly nominated and voted for her to receive this award. She is the welcoming face of MCHS and the go-to person for every question that comes through the front office, either from students, teachers, staff, parents, community members, and visitors. While her plate of responsibilities is overloaded, her heart and willingness to serve our school community is always open. Mrs. Farmer, thank you for going above and beyond your job description daily. Thank you for loving all of our students in the building. But one thing that's even harder, I know, is loving all of us adults in the building and reminding all of us in the most caring way to do the things that either should have already been done or need to be done before it's too late. You ensure that our children, our own biological children in the schools that are there after school are cared for and feel like they're important. You ensure that our children as students have coverage in classrooms when teachers are absent. You make parent meetings a priority to get on the calendars of administrators. You shop for and purchase the best ice cream for our monthly student birthday celebrations. You design a bulletin board for all of our staff birthdays, organize the staff Christmas party so that every staff member walks away with a gift and a delicious meal. And you care for our special school plants and make sure to rescue any live plant before someone puts it in my office. You serve as a sounding board for staff members who come in and stressed and ensure that their needs are met and or communicated to me. You make everyone feel like their concerns are heard and considered. Most importantly, you really do embrace all of the staff's children. You give over your keyboard, your computer, your office supplies, and your hugs to make them feel special and valued. You volunteer to work the concession stands at football games and show up to prom at 10:30 at night just to help us clean up. These are just a few examples of extra special touches you add to our school. Thank you for treating all of us at MCHS just like they are our family. You never want recognition and you prefer to work behind the scenes, but tonight you don't get your way. Everyone, the most caring person I truly have ever worked with in MCHS's Care Person of the Year, Mrs. Michelle Farmer.
So of all those amazing people that you've heard about tonight, we do have a Teacher of the Year for the whole division to honor. You heard a lot about this lady this evening. She definitely teaches from the heart, and she cares about her students, and she cares about her colleagues. Her passion for teaching just inspires everyone around her. So I'm pleased to announce that this year's Teacher of the Year is Miss Erin Mitchell.
Congratulations, Erin. Would you like to say anything? I can't either, so we love you.
I grew up with Erin. Sorry.
And Erin Mitchell, you're probably the only teacher my daughter has had, other than Ms. Fears, that she talks about every single day. So you definitely making an impact, because she doesn't talk that much.
All right, retirees.
Can we, actually, Wade just walked in about 5 minutes ago. So can we go back really quick and honor Wade Fox as Senior of the Month?
Wade, I've already read what I read at the Senior of the Month with a little bit more, but I want you to come up so everyone can see how grown up you are. They may not have seen you since you were a little kid. A K through 12 graduate next weekend. The best manners. The most important thing, and I wrote all that stuff, but truly, Wade is really competitive. And I said that in the write-up at the Senior of the Month banquet, and he looked at me. But what's amazing is I believe competition breeds excellence, because I'm really competitive too, but as you compete, you get better, you make yourself better. And him and I have had just great conversations, like where he wants to be. If he doesn't get there, he's setting another goal to get there. He wants to be the best as what he can be, and he always asks for advice, and I just think it's going to take you really far. I'm so proud. It's been awesome to watch you 9th through 12th grade, and he's going to JMU, and he's going to do awesome things there. So I just want you to come back home and give back when you're done. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, Wade. Sorry, Miss Graham. I just saw him walk in.
I'm glad you saw him. That's perfect. Thank you. Okay, so tonight we're going to recognize our retirees. We have 3, and they have a combined 94 years experience in Madison County Public Schools, which is amazing. These individuals being recognized tonight have worked countless hours to provide the best education for our students, whether it's in the classroom, making sure they arrive safely to school and arrived back home safely, or had a fresh meal to eat. Tonight, we can say thank you for all that they have done, and we sincerely wish they have an opportunity to do all the things on their bucket list and enjoy all the bright days that retirement brings them. So you're going to hear from some special people talking about our retirees this evening. First is Ms. Wenham and Ms. Paramore. Correct.
Miss Paramore is going to join me, so y'all, those that are getting annoyed with my voice, you get a break for a little bit. I'm letting her take part of this role. I'm going to introduce Miss Lindsay. Miss Lindsay, but I want you to come up here, okay? We're going to change the retirees a little bit. Thank you. So I'm going to just introduce her. Ms. Paramore is going to read, and then I'm going to conclude it. Come on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ms. Lindsay has given 30 years of service to Virginia Public Schools, with 29 of those years in Madison County serving our students. Over these years, she has served in the capacity of cosmetology teacher, bus driver, substitute, and finishing her years of service as a graduation coach at Madison County High School. Ms. Paramore, her colleague in the Career and Technical Education Department, is going to share a little bit about her now.
Joyce spent 20 years as the MCHS cosmetology teacher for 2000 through 2020, and the Skills USA advisor, taking students to competitions and celebrating student skills that they had gained through CTE programs. She received the Virginia Career and Technical Education Outstanding New Teacher of the Year Award in June 2005. In that same year, in December of 2005, she was awarded the National Association Career and Technical Education Trade and Industry Outstanding New Teacher of the Year Award. A year later, in March of 2006, she received the Virginia General Assembly Senate Joint Resolution Commendation Award. A lot of big awards. It was never uncommon to find Madison faculty such as Dr. Campbell, Dr. Eberhardt, Mike Sacra, and R.J. Noblet visiting Joyce during the day to get a haircut and help in her demonstration of barbering to her students. They always left with a smile. Joyce would also host special events for employees to let the students practice their skills for manicures. Many ladies took advantage of these opportunities throughout the years, and some of the students even convinced Deputy Foster to have a manicure, which he did as a great sport.
And enjoyed it.
And enjoyed it, yeah. It has been a great pleasure working with Joyce over the past 22 years here at MCHS. She is a great colleague, and I am honored to call her a wonderful friend during a 22 years of working together. She will be missed at MCHS, but I know that she will have many great adventures with her additional 6 cruises with Ray and family the rest of the year as she relaxes and enjoys her retirement. You know that I will be popping in just to say hi at your doorstep from time to time again. So it's not goodbye as you retire, but bon voyage, my friend.
So now Miss Lindsay finishes her career as the MCHS graduation coach for the past 2 years, where she has provided graduation support and consultations to students at risk of not graduating. Mrs. Lindsay's support and the motivations that has provided students has been so helpful, especially as we recovered from the COVID pandemic and had to transition students back from virtual learning to fully in-person learning with the same graduation requirements at hand. She has worked directly with school counselors, teachers, and administrators to create support and intervention plans and maintain communication between school and home. Personally, Ms. Lindsay has probably known me longer than any of the other staff members at MCHS, as she was my bus driver in upper elementary school, and I still remember that when she was driving was when I felt most safe and cared for on the bus. Her smile still continues to welcome students today in our building and on the school bus, and for this I am very grateful, as it was that same smile that made me feel safe, accepted, and valued many years ago. Thank you for choosing Madison County to serve, Ms. Lindsay. You're in the middle. I love a picture. Come on, Miss Paramore. No photo ops. Out.
Thank you. All right, next we'll have Ms. Patty Seal come forward.
Hi, I'm honored to speak to about someone that's very near and dear to my heart, Kathy Seal, also known as Flossie. Flossie has been an employee of Madison County Public Schools for 32 years, 32 years of ensuring that our children are fed every day. I will try to make this short, but there's so much to say about this wonderful lady. She started her career in school nutrition at Criglersville Elementary, where she worked for 9 years, then transitioned to the high school, and she's been here for 23 years. Flossie is one of a kind. She is one of the most caring and hardworking human beings that I have ever met, and she is loved by so many. If any of you parents have had students in the high school, I am sure you have heard her name a time or two. When I started working with Madison Schools in 2008, I was hired as supervisor of the nutrition department as well as the cafeteria manager at the high school. This was very overwhelming. I had no idea how to place a food order, and I had little time. Here we are, she finally decided to hang up her apron. Flossie loves those grandbabies more than anything, and she's going to be spending time babysitting and just hanging out with them after retirement. And you might even find her in the cafeteria subbing a little bit. We wish Flossie nothing but happiness as she transitions into the next season of her life, but we will miss her so much. Thank you for your service.
Okay, now we have Mr. Laundrie coming forward.
All right, good evening, everyone. I need to start off by saying how privileged I am for being the one that was able to take y'all on a bit of a journey this evening. This journey goes back more than 34 years ago, and we need to actually head to a little town in the northern part of New York, right there at the border of Canada. It was in that small town that we look back at the journey of a young lady who had just received her undergraduate degree from St. Lawrence University and wanted to pursue a career in school psychology, so she decided to leave the cold temperatures of New York and head south. She happened upon that university down the road, you know, the one that we really don't talk much about because they think that blue should be paired up with orange instead of maroon. But she decided to move down here and get her master's degree and begin her career. Now, just because she now lives here and was able to get her degree from that house that Jefferson built, it still didn't make her a true Southerner, but we're still working on how we use the phrases like y'all and understanding the true meaning of bless your heart. In the fall of 1989, she was hired by Madison County Public Schools as a wonderful school counselor. She has filled my head with years of stories about the days that she would work with the little kiddos and occasionally get to slip away and head to work with the students at Cricklersville Elementary School. Most people probably didn't know her much as being a school counselor, but instead knew her more as being her middle school English teachers. Now that we all have a better understanding of who I'm talking about, and let me fill you with some pretty cool things that Miss Mary Ann Hankla has been responsible for in her time here at Madison. To start off, I have to bring up a special number 34. 34 years, that's how long she's been teaching here. To think about all of the things that she's done in 34 years of teaching is hard to fathom, much less the number of lives that she has changed over that time. Now, in those 34 years, she's had the honor of working under 8 different principals, spent over 6,800 days in a classroom. Okay, think about that. 6,800 days in a classroom full of middle school kids. All right, I'm not even taking into account all the weekend days, the summer days, and the holidays that she'd come in early just to get ready for those kids. Talking about those kids, she's been able to influence more than 2,000 students in her classroom over her time. She's been an incredible teacher here, and even willing to adapt. So much so that one of those 34 years that we're talking about, she even had to figure out a way to be her amazing teacher self from her home, where she taught virtually. Now, talking about that virtual year, even though she couldn't come into the building to teach, she still managed to make herself stay part of our WMS team. She would make sure and drive by the school most days at the exact time that the rest of her team would be outside just so she could honk her horn and allow for all of us to scream and wave back at her. That's just the type of person that Mary Ann is. She is an awesome team leader. Not only because you knew that at some point you were going to get some sort of sweet treat and stickers and notepads, and I believe everybody's favorite was when she gave each one of us those Chinese yo-yos. But that wasn't all that she was good at. She completely understood that being a good team leader meant much more than just giving out the fun stuff. She always had her door open for us to come in and would just listen to any of her coworkers for as long as they needed. And Mary Ann knew exactly what was needed to be said or not said, and would give you one of her wonderful hugs. I can't begin to think about how many teachers she has also helped throughout her 34 years of teaching. She also made sure to stand up for her fellow teachers. I'm reminded of a staff meeting where she even stood up and told one of our principals by asking him, "How am I supposed to get to my phone when I'm in the middle of teaching a lesson? Want me to ride a skateboard?" I can do that. She also knew when she needed to help put everybody in a good mood by cracking an unexpected joke, or my personal favorite, when no kids were around, dropping an unexpected cuss word just to get a reaction out of one of her coworkers. Obviously, when no kids were around. Mary Ann is an extremely special teacher. I personally feel, though, as if I'm the one that was most blessed. I say this because I've had the honor of being partnered up with her for the last 5 school years, and she has become so much more than just a coworker or a teammate. She quickly became and continues to kind of be my school mom, and has looked out for me and kept me, amongst others, under the shelter of her wings for a long time. She has been my sounding board, not only for school-related things, but come every springtime, she even listens to me as I rattle on and on about my baseball boys and how we're doing. I honestly could speak for hours about Mary Ann, but I'm going to finish up by saying, enjoy your retirement. You have earned it.
All right, next on the list, we have a recognition for our school board representative.
Right. So we had this year a student athlete, governor, school student, probably resident announcer for any and every event that happened within the school division. He somehow found time to come to all of our board meetings and be the student representative for all the students in Madison County, but particularly the high school. And we hear that he is headed to Virginia Military Institute in the fall. So we just wanted to tell him thank you for coming to the board meetings and serving on the board as the student rep. And we have a little token of appreciation for you.
Congratulations, everyone. That was the fun part of the meeting. We have more funness to go, but It always makes me smile to recognize all of our children and our staff members who dedicate all kinds of hours to our kids. So our next agenda item is from the middle school Who Club. I'm not sure who's coming up.
Good evening. Are there any other members who snuck in after it was time? I was hoping to have a few more. I'm Carolyn Barrett, and this is my first year teaching at Wetzel. And so when I first got to Wetzel, we knew we were going to have a club day, and I said, wonder which club I would do. So the other teachers just said, well, just do something you're passionate about. So something I'm passionate about is serving others. So I came up with the idea of Wetzel Helps Others. And so we have about 10 to 12 members who, when we set out at the beginning of the year, we said we wanted to help around the school, we wanted to help locally, we wanted to help regionally, and we wanted to help others internationally. So we are actually in the course of our last goal, which is international, and we accomplished everything else in the course of the year. So it's just been a real joy to work with these young ladies and see how they like to serve others before themselves. Because sometimes I think young people sometimes think about themselves and not about others as much. So it's just been a real joy to work with this group. And I have one of my students here this evening, Aaron Dunn, is going to share about a number of the activities that we've done.
So the first activity we came up with was putting kind notes on our lockers. I had seen a note before on my locker, and it had really changed a lot of stuff. When I was down in the gutter, it really helped. So we decided to do that around the school. And for Valentine's Day, we put stickers all over the windows around the school, outside of classroom windows, on gym doors, just all around with positive notes on them. Then we did a Thanksgiving box for a family in Madison. We collected what you would see on your normal Thanksgiving dinner table and so much canned food for our canned food drive. Then we did Socks for Appalachia. We collected new donated socks to send to Appalachia. We aimed for 300, but we got 533 socks for the children of Appalachia. The winners got a donut party. So for our final project, we are doing the Heifer Project. We collect coins, money, or checks that we will use to buy a family a product ranging from a flock of chicks to a water buffalo. This is an international project to help a family somewhere in the world. This is only within the club and Miss Barrett's classes. And this is our last project for the year.
And just to finish up, they already have plans for next year that we've been talking about. So it's just, like I said, it's just been a real joy, and they've done a super job. You can see some of the pictures. The picture on the far left was a boy who opened one of his Hope boxes in Appalachia. We were in the Hazard, Kentucky area. And so they were just super excited about their socks. And there was our board for the Socks for Appalachia. And, they sacrificed their own time. One day they stayed after school to help me sort and organize and unpackage socks. And then there are some little chicks that we hope to be able to raise money for. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. All right, our next part of our board meeting is public comment. We welcome and encourage public and staff comments. Anyone who wishes to address the board must state their name and area they reside in and limit their comments to 3 minutes. There is a timer on the screen so you can pace yourself. This is a time for comments only. Board members and executive staff will not respond to public comments or questions. If you have specific questions, please submit them to the board in writing, and they will be given to the appropriate person to answer in a timely manner. Anyone who wishes to address the board may come to the podium, and our timer should be up there soon.
Hello, my name is Kayla Rawson. I live in Madison near the Hood area. I have a 6-year-old daughter in the primary school. I'm here because there was an incident back in November with my daughter of sexual assault on the Madison primary school playground. It was brought to the attention of the assistant principal and everyone else. They assured me the situation was taken care of. They took measures to separate my daughter from the other children that were part of this incident. I trusted the school to protect her. She came home a couple weeks ago, and she's 6, accusing this same child of teasing her on the playground where they're not even supposed to interact, calling her names. So I took it upon myself to go to the school, talk to the assistant principal, let her know the situation, and to let her know this is not going to be tolerated. My daughter's 6, and they keep pulling their 6 card, and you have to remember, yes, these other children are 6, but so is she, and that's traumatizing. What had happened in November was they decided it would be a good idea to hold her hands behind her back and pull her pants down along with her underwear on the playground with all the other children, with 6 teachers present. Like I said, I trusted the school to take this matter and resolve it, keep my daughter safe, protect her, and now she is being victim blamed. I went to the school board because the school was not going to do nothing. They just keep pulling the confidentiality card, and he's 6 card. We can only do so much. I understand that, but confidentiality went out the window when she was on the playground. Apparently, there are only 3 cameras on this playground, and only one of them is working. I was told they know of this situation, and they said this will be fixed this summer. And in my opinion, that's too late. And since the second incident where he's been picking on her happened, I have gone to social media, and I've gotten many responses because the school board decided that we're going to victim blame and we're not going to do anything. I have reached out to news stations, and I have reached out to the Madison Eagle so that this can be made public. But I want you guys to think long and hard, because I've had several other parents come forward, come to me saying that my child isn't the only one that this is happening to.
computer to wake up. We can just, I can call it back to order. Yeah. Well, I wanted to be. All right, we will call this meeting back to order. Our technical difficulty is over, I hope, for the remaining of the meeting. Would anybody else like to address the board? We are still in public comment.
My name is Eric Moeller from Radiant, Virginia. SEL and character education are interwoven into the curriculum, so opting out would isolate students, increase the already present issues of parent condoned disrespect toward teachers. And, you know, have you met with counselors and teachers to get their viewpoint on the change you're making to existing policy? How is this a positive and productive effort to attack, how to, teaching kids how to deal with their emotions in a constructive way? And wouldn't it be better to support and strengthen the programs already in use and make sure teachers have the materials they need to implement existing programs? It seems like, again, the board's creating problems rather than solving them and creating problems that don't exist. SEL is not a replacement, but a supplement to character education. There is considerable overlap between the two programs, and both benefit students and society in general. SEL teaches students how to manage themselves internally and relate to others in a more positive and compassionate way. And how is that not building character? How is that not creating a better citizen, as I've heard y'all state in previous meetings? How, and other parents and teachers that I have talked to and met with have never said anything negative about this program or about social emotional learning. And so I'm just trying to figure out why this is a problem and why we're not addressing other issues like bullying in the schools and how SEL can help alleviate that bullying and help alleviate what happened to that lady's daughter and teach these children how to have a healthy outlet for their emotions and how to deal with them in a, again, a constructive way and in a way that is positive and not have to deal with it. And a lot of these kids also, they don't get the learn how to deal with their emotions in a constructive and positive way at home. So if they don't get it at school, where are they going to get it from? How are they going to learn how to deal with these things? And I see you, I'm putting you to sleep, Mr. Wingate, so I apologize for that. So I'm just trying to figure out why this is a problem and why it's being talked about and not the achievement gaps and not the bullying in schools and how we're going to address those issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to address the board? Going once. Going twice. All right, we're going to move on. So we are going to celebrate success with the Office of Student Services. Ms. Alexander?
All right, so with me, I have a team of rock stars. You'll meet them, and then you'll meet the little rock stars, a few little rock stars tonight. So we have Miss Peters from the high school, and Miss Marshall over here, and Phoebe Slavin, and then you all have met Jess Henshaw quite a few times. So I have a couple of slides I'd like to get through first, and then we'll meet the little rock stars.
$20 seconds.
He's working on it.
Oh, it's fine.
They're working hard back there.
I know they are.
It's nothing like having technology fail.
It's two reporters today for students.
Especially when it happens to the tech people. It's rough.
So what I can do is just go ahead and talk about the couple of slides. So the first slide that you will see, hopefully see, will just share out that we have I'll snap. That we have 177 students currently identified as exceptional. We had 26 new referrals this year, of which we found so far 14 eligible, and we have dismissed 13 kiddos who no longer need the support. No pressure. Oh, I'll go in. Oh, yay, celebrating success. All right, so, yes, so this next slide just shows you, whoop, there we are with our numbers. And then if you look to the right of that, okay, you can see that the majority of our kiddos are identified learning disabled, and then we have other health impairment and speech language as our top three categories. This graphic here just shows you that the majority of our kiddos are served in the gen ed setting for the majority of their school day. And introducing Miss Harmony Hooper from Madison Primary School. She will be singing Picnic from Bugs. And then this next slide is Zayden Chapman. He is not singing the whole time, but he will sing at the end for you guys. We'll keep with the theme. He's a 4th grader at Waverly Out.
My name is Zayden Chapman. I'm going to Waverly Out. I'm in 4th grade.
What are some things that were difficult for you at the beginning of the year?
Math is really hard, and I'm reading, and so those times I have troubles sitting down in class.
Yeah, but you've come a long way this year, and you've gotten a lot better at stuff, right? Like your reading. Yeah, where did you start?
Oh, to G, to all the way to A.
Fantastic! Awesome. And your math come a long way. And your behavior, you're being able to sit in class, to listen, to follow directions. What is that that's there, that you have there?
I have my sheet.
Yeah, your star chart.
Great days sheet.
And what do you want to do each day on that chart?
Get 11 stars and try to pick my favorite ones.
What do you have to do to be able to get a star?
I was to follow directions, stay in my space.
Awesome. What are some other ways you've been recognized? You've also got what?
A circle.
Yeah.
And say, can I read it?
Sure.
It says, respect everyone. Singing did a great job playing a math game with a friend. He was fair and Tari. Great job, and that's just one of many you've gotten this year. Yeah. I know, I think you have a pile of them. What is another thing you participated in after school that was challenging?
I participated. From what I participated in Ravenly Shanghai.
Yeah! And you guys put on a big show, didn't you?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Were you nervous about getting up there?
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you love to sing?
Yeah. And if you wasn't there, I would sing for you right now.
You want to sing right now?
Yeah.
Okay. You sing. Do you want to sing one of those songs from your show? Let's see.
I think a bunch of other songs I can sing.
Well, you just said you're a very good singer.
It's gonna be the best day of my life.
That is awesome. You have done a great job this year, and we're also proud of you. Hey, this is my buddy. Boom.
So this year, a few of our 8th graders had the opportunity to participate in a basketball program. And during this time, these students learned a new sport, teamwork, faced fears, overcame challenges, made new friends, and had fun. Our student body even had the privilege to see these students in action when they played at our school. It was an amazing time for the players and their peers, and tonight you will hear from some of those students.
In the grade, I get to play basketball is year. Basketball was hard for me. My favorite things to do was to run fast. I wasn't nervous to play basketball. It was a lot for fun for me, and I like us. Was everyone say good job?
My name is Taylor. I am in the 8th grade. This year I got to play basketball at my school. In others, it was hard to shoot hoops. My hands were hard to learn how to bounce the ball up and down the court. I was super nervous, but my nervous went away.
Hi, my name is Liam. I'm in 8th grade. I got to play basketball this year. Shooting this year was hard for me. Being able to dodge other players, and I wasn't nervous at all because I was too excited to be nervous and be able to shoot hoops and move around.
Hi, I'm the designee here at the high school, and I'd like to introduce you to an amazing young woman, Malaya Peterson. She has been a part of Madison School since kindergarten, and she's going to share her story.
Hi, my name is Malaya Peterson, and as someone who has benefited greatly from special education, as some of you may know, I have a learning difference that made certain academic tasks more challenging for me. However, thanks to the dedicated teachers and support staff at our school who worked hard to provide me with the tools and resources I needed to succeed. I am proud to say that I'm graduating today, the 20th, with a standard diploma. Without the extra help and personalized attention that I received through special education, I might not have made it to this point. But instead, I was able to thrive academically, participate in extra activities, and form meaningful relationships with my peers. The accommodations received, such as extending time on tests and access to technology, leveled the playing field and allowed me to demonstrate my true abilities. I know that many people still don't understand special education and disability in general. They may see it as a burden. But I am living proof that when given the right tools and support, individuals with disabilities can achieve incredible things. So I want to thank everyone who played a part in helping me reach this milestone. My family, my teachers, my counselors, and my peers. Your belief in me never went away, and I am very grateful for that. I couldn't have asked for more. Thank you.
That concludes our presentation. If anyone has any questions, I'm sure that Ms. Peters will be happy to answer them.
Great job, everybody. That was awesome. Great presentation. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, our next agenda item is for informational purposes, and it is concerning policy IGAI, character education. Mr. Wingate, would you like to share this one?
Yes, thank you. So character education, I think I started thinking about this, about in the fall of last year, having heard from a number of parents, having some concerns about how we are executing character education and their concerns about social and emotional learning, possibly kind of pushing out some core elements of character education. I think I've talked to the board about it. We've all kind of heard some of the same things from different parents. So we just kind of started thinking about it, and that led to a really good, thorough briefing in one of our committees last month. And some folks were here, and a good overview of sort of how schools are doing character education and the programs in place and social and emotional learning and how they kind of overlapped. And that led to Ms. Graham doing a survey of some of the leaders in the school district and taking some input, and on the board getting some feedback from folks, and still continuing to get feedback. And that really led to this draft. This is very much a draft, and I'm trying to kind of start a conversation about the best way forward, and I expect and hope that this draft will continue to change and hopefully improve as there's more input, and if we decide to move forward eventually to have a vote at some point. So I want to make clear this is starting point in that way, and really do want input, and I've talked to some of the principals, and we'll continue to kind of seek that input. And busy schedules interfered, but I want to make sure we get their input and make this a good thing. So I did want to, and I want to kind of start by saying there's a lot of, coming out of that briefing and being around the schools, my son being here, and there's a lot of good work being done in terms of character education in the school district, and I want to commend everybody for that. And sometimes I get wrapped around with critiques and how improving things, but there's a lot of good stuff. Things like bucket lists and star reports and student ambassadors and focus on goals of integrity and inspire and things like that. All really good things for our children. Mr. Coiner talked about having children at the base of every decision making, and I think that's important to keep in mind. I think that's happening in a lot of places, so I commend everybody for that. I do have a couple of, just in the draft I handed out the board, a couple of points to talk about and think about and to help provide input as we go forward. First is we have a character education policy in place. We have something in place. You can see it on board docs. It's been there for a while. I think it's pretty standard kind of Virginia School Board Association document that came to us. And there's goodness in it. I think it's pretty vague. I think, with the advent of social emotional learning in particular, I think it's time for an update probably and figure out how those two work together. And maybe there's room for two policies. Maybe there's a education policy and a social emotional learning policy. I'm not sure. They're different. They're similar, certainly an overlapping. I think something we should think about. But we do have a policy, but this intent to sort of update that policy. Both the current policy and the draft take as a starting point the Virginia Code, which says there's 6 values or traits that we're supposed to kind of focus on. And you guys, we kind of talk about what those are. And those are a core part of our mission in public education. And so both the draft and the current policy take that as our starting point. So a couple of changes, sort of additions that I put in the draft just to start that conversation. My draft emphasizes that schools are sort of the junior partners to parents in character formation. Their children are their parents, and so schools are in support. And I want to make sure that kind of we recognize that. And that's where the opt-out things come from, to make sure that parents have that right, do what's best for their children. It's also why my draft restricts schools from discussing kind of intimate and controversial topics, like religious preferences or partisan causes, gender identity, sexual orientation, things like that. That's a parental prerogative that I think that parents sort of have that right, and schools shouldn't come down any one direction on those things. And so I want to make sure that we respect parental rights in that way. I also want to make sure that parents have a right to inspect their curriculum. One of the concerns I hear a lot is, well, I can't see the curriculum because it's a login, it's a copyright, and I know that parents can come to the school board office and look at it at the school, but to be realistic, that doesn't happen very often, because parents are busy and people are busy, and so I want to make sure that our curriculum is totally transparent for parents. They can inspect it in the comfort of their living room, sit on their couch, and so I want to make sure that our curriculums and whatever we do, parents can see it. And I think that builds trust. And part of the issues the complaints I hear, I think it's just a lack of knowledge and trust, sort of, that I can't see stuff. And so I want to make sure that we fix that. What else? A long thing here. I want to minimize stuff. Also, in the draft, I talk a lot about citizenship. I think citizenship is so critical, and so I talk a lot about citizenship and sort of the role of schools in developing citizenship. And there's some practical guidance in there about some of the national holidays and things like that I think schools can focus on. And again, a lot of schools are doing that. I think about the primary school doing it, being there and doing stuff all the time for stuff like that. And I think all the schools are. And honestly, a lot of stuff that's is being done. My policy draft just seeks to kind of articulate those things so that those requirements are in place, and it's not just the initiative of an individual principal or superintendent, but that in 20 years from now, when they're different principals and superintendents, that those things are in place. And so a lot of it articulates what's already being done, the good work that's already being done. And probably the most controversial thing, and I think we should talk about it, is sort of the relationship between character education and social emotional learning, and how that works. And I think it's, I'm sorry, I think the most interesting or controversial piece is relationship between character education and social and emotional learning, and how those two things kind of relate and who's responsible for what. Some of the concerns I have is that are we letting SEL push out character education? And I don't think that should happen. I think at the very core should be character education and values. And think about, bullying. The gentleman talked about bullying, and it's essential that we address that. I think that's best addressed initially by making sure that children know what's right and wrong, objective right and wrong. That's character education. It's value education. And we can build on that with social emotional learning. So I just want to make sure that our focus, absolute focus, is that character education piece, and that's why it's there in the policy. And then last, social emotional learning. People say, of course there's social emotional learning in schools, and there always has been as long as schools existed. I think about Eddie Dean, he was a master social and emotional teacher on the football field. I played at Madison, and things I learned from him about social and emotional learning last forever, and that's why sports are so wonderful for those things. And so, of course, social and emotional learning happens. It happens every time a teacher leads a spirited discussion respectfully. It happens every time a coach teaches teamwork. And a baseball team teaches teamwork and hard work and resilience and getting back up after you strike out 3 times. And I know that feeling very well. And so all those things are vitally important, and they're taught all the time. My concern, I think, is with the current SEL curriculums. I want to make sure that we use curriculums that are respectful of parents and sort of Madisonian values. I've done some research, and I have some real questions about the SEL curriculums we're currently using. I think Character Strong and Second Step are problematic in a lot of ways. I think leadership in Madison has done a good job of kind of screening some of the stuff out, but the companies are left-wing companies that are national companies that have a real agenda, and there's a strong progressive agenda to each one of those companies. They partnered with folks that bring a very left-wing focus, and I'm not looking for a right-wing focus or a left-wing focus. I just want to have a nonpartisan focus. And so when those companies partner with folks who are advocating, looking at equity through critical race theory, or folks who advocate for LGBT flags flying in classrooms, or they advocate for transgender students playing on girls' teams, things like that. I think that's unfair to Madisonian value, the majority of Madison's values, and I want to make sure that we're careful about not disrespecting parental rights in that manner. And so I would like to kind of move away from those curriculums and figure out the best kind of character-focused curriculums moving forward. And so you can kind of see that in the draft for sure. And really, I think that's sort of the conclusion. And last, my draft does ask the superintendent to make sure there's adequate training, adequate resources, adequate time to plan for those things, and then also to do an annual sort of a update to the school board on how the program is and how it's functioning, so we can continue to evaluate the program. So anyway, I guess I can entertain any questions on it or thoughts. It's a draft, and I think it's a starting point, and hopefully it'll get better and better. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. She can't hear.
I said it's a very long policy, and it seeks to incorporate a whole lot of different ideas, none of which is a bad idea. In fact, they're very good ideas, and they're currently being done. Would it be better to have I don't even know what you would call it, but a civics policy, and list all the things that would include being a good citizen and knowing about our political system and all the things that have to do with being an American, because a lot of these things are. And then there's a lot of bleed over into character too. And at this point, I'm not really sure, do we have a specific character curriculum? Is there such a thing? I mean, oh, is that what we're calling it? Oh, okay. All right, so right now, we don't have, other than that, we don't have a character curriculum, to my knowledge, right? Okay.
And see, that's sort of what I think that's part of the issue is that the SEL curriculum has become the character education curriculum.
Okay.
Now there's a lot of stuff going on in addition to that all the time, and good stuff being done all the time. But that curriculum is the explicit kind of character education curriculum.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify, because I wasn't sure, because we talked about it being approved. The school board may approve a character education curriculum that meets the needs. So right now, that would be it, right? Is that what you're thinking? Is that
Yes,
what the rest
yes.
of you think too?
I mean, I think this is the first
time we thought
read
about
of it, and we have time to build from it. This is
Yeah.
the draft,
I think
and
a
we
lot-
have time to build from it, so.
I like a lot of the ideas you've put in here, because they're already being done, and it's nice to have them in code or in policy. So, but I'm just not sure, it's really long. And I'm wondering if there might be a natural break-in where there's two policies instead of one.
I'm not opposed to that at all. I think maybe that we need a character education policy and a social emotional learning policy too. I mean, because that's a lot of what we're trying to tackle is how do those two things interact? They're different, they're similar, they support each other. How do they interact? And I think, we're in the high school curriculum, Character Strong built itself as a character education and an SEL curriculum. I think it comes out mostly SEL stuff. That's what it talks about. That's what it says it is. So trying to figure out how those two work together, I think, is something that we probably need to do. I mean, SEL is sort of a new thing in terms of the explicit nature of it. I mean, it's been going on for thousands of years, of course.
It just didn't have a program.
Didn't have a curriculum. People weren't
That's
making
right.
money writing
Yeah.
the curriculums, and you buying
Yeah.
programs and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's nice to, well, not nice, I think it's necessary to look at where we are with this. But I'm glad we're at least getting started with it. I know I need to know a whole lot more. I need to see the SEL curriculum all the way through. I mean, I've seen snippets of it,
We
but I
can
don't
give you
know
that.
what it looks like at the high school level. So I think we need to take a good look at what that is to help us to determine what we don't want. Does that make sense, you guys? At least a little.
Well, I mean, so this is just the first draft that we've seen. We just got it tonight, so I'm sure that we're all going to look through it and come up with our own thoughts.
That's kind of where I am too, Mr. Sheets. There's a lot of stuff in this policy. So, anyway, I think it's a good start.
Mr. Wingate, do you eventually see the committee that you're on as reviewing and then proposing the curriculum?
I mean, I think that's probably getting ahead of ourselves. I think we need to come up with a policy first, you know, and then decide, you know, who's the best. If we decide on it, maybe we don't need a curriculum. I mean, as I said, I mean, I think like social emotional learning has been going on for thousands of years. I think the best part of social emotional learning is the baseball team, the football team, the forensics team, you know, the teacher who leads spirited discussion. I'm not sure that a explicit curriculum, you know, I've heard a lot of comments that children, I think they learn a lot more from doing stuff than watching a video, you know, for a few minutes at homeroom. So I don't know if we need a curriculum or not. I'm not positive. I just think those are discussions we ought to have. And I guess my immediate concern probably is not, I think, my personal opinion, and what I would like to convince the board is not to use those companies, Second Step and what's yours?
Character Strong.
Character Strong, next year.
And that's exactly what I was slowly getting at. I was just going to say, since we just have June and July, then through the summer, we'll just need to know, are we holding off and not doing those over like the next school year while, you know, other curriculums are being investigated, or if we're continuing with them until they're replaced. So that it's not a decision we need tonight, but, you know, by July, we would need to know.
That's probably the only decision we need in the next couple of
Right,
months. You know,
exactly.
To decide if we're going to use those going forward or not. And, I mean, you know, the board, as I understand it, did approve those at some point, a couple of years ago. I don't know how many years ago. But it's a different board, and I think we ought to think about, and maybe we want to keep it, and maybe we don't. I think most of us have heard the same kind of concerns, and so I would just encourage us all to do some research in those companies and take a look at the lessons and recognize that the leadership has done some screening out of some of the controversial things, but I don't particularly trust the companies.
Okay.
So I mean, I just think we should think about it and talk about it and move forward from there.
Anybody have any questions? Informational this month?
No, what Mr. Wingate was saying, that it was adopted in 99, revised April and July of 2019, and then last revised May of 2021. So
I think as I went back and looked, and those last 2 years were like, it was like the legal code was at the very bottom. The last significant upgrade was like 20 years ago or something.
Ms. Graham, can you inform the board, just in an email is fine, when those curriculums were adopted?
Yes.
And
I will do.
when and if we voted on them?
I will, and I'll also get you, Ms. Allen, the logins for those curriculums, because we had sent those.
Yeah, I just want to see what it is, because I don't think I know enough about what it is. And it might dovetail in there perfectly. I just don't know.
I've only seen it as a parent at the middle school level. That's all I've seen. And
Okay.
that was just a snippet. So,
All right.
Anybody else have anything else? Thank you for your work on that.
Yeah, thank you.
We will give Mr. Wingate feedback. I had feedback and left it on my desk at work. All kinds of little red ink everywhere, but I'll get it to you. All right. Our next agenda item is a business approval item. Ms. Graham, do you want to share your thoughts on this?
Sure. Yes, this came out of our last teacher advisory committee meeting. Lots of school divisions around us are ending the school year earlier because there's been no snow days. We don't really want to cut short student time, but we do have a half day for the very last day of school. It was a half-day student day and then a half-day teacher work day. I apologize for not thinking about this when we cut out the other half-day as well, but here we are. So we would like to make that a full teacher work day and just make the last day of school Thursday, May 25th, and then the Friday would then become the full teacher work day instead of a half student day. I feel comfortable doing that. Parents already have to have childcare on half days. We've talked about that before. And it's also difficult for our transportation department on those days. So it seems a fair request, I believe, part of our staff.
It's also, in my experience, that it is a much better way about going to do things because half-days just don't typically ever really work out the way you want them to.
Right. Especially the last day. Lots of hyper kiddos and teachers, probably.
And next winter, we need to like flush the ice down the toilet and sing songs and, you know, do all those things because I didn't have no snow days either. No snow days. So, any questions, board? Huh? Yeah. I'll open the floor for a motion to change Friday, May 26th to a teacher workday and make the last day of school for students to be a full day on Thursday, May 25th.
I will definitely make a motion to change that in the calendar.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? No. All right. There you go.
And yes, thank you for all you wonderful staff members for Teacher Appreciation Week, because we do definitely appreciate you.
And hanging in there until 9:30 at night
Amen.
tonight. And my authentication to the server has been lost.
Mine too.
So, here we go. We're going to wing this one. This is to approve to continue to participate in Albemarle's regional program for 2023-2024 school year as presented. This supports migrant students as part of the Title I, Part C of the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001. Do you want to add anything, Ms. Graham? Did I do that justice with no server?
You did. It's a requirement that we join and be part of it. We do not have a large population, so we join on.
Board members, any questions? Okay, we'll need a motion to approve to continue to participate.
I'll make a motion to let the school division remain in the Albemarle Regional Migrant Education Program for the 2023-2024 school year.
We have a motion, we need a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any conversation? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any noes? And you have that approved. All right, our last part of the meeting is reports from school board members, and we can start with Mr. Sheets.
The first thing I'll say is I was going back through my emails and I misspoke because Chris sent me this draft like almost 3 weeks ago. And I started reading, I remember starting to read it and I got pulled away and I totally forgot about it. I apologize about that. You know what? It is important. I apologize. So obviously my point is I didn't just get this tonight. It's my fault that I hadn't been all the way through it. I'm sorry about that. I'll be going through it this week. CIP meeting last week. It's seems like we have an old Fiat car at school buildings, because it seems like every time I turn around, there's something else going on with the school. We got a school building flooding with water. The boiler in the high school here again is the seams, they had them welded and it's busted again, and it's just, it's just more stuff, and I don't want to bring anybody down with it, but it's just more stuff. It just keeps happening. Had the school board walk through last what's that? Thursday.
27.
It was a really good walkthrough. Our little, the young ladies that guided Mrs. Graham and myself around, they were fast, and they wanted to get us where we needed to be, and like, all right, now we got to go somewhere else. And we visited more classrooms than we visited in any other school. They did a really good job. I was proud of them. We had a good conversation with Principal Kubricki after. And one of the topics that we talked about was the amount of screen time. And it's funny how Tommy Wood was talking about that this evening. You know, our attraction to things that we see and what catches our attention, video games don't do it for me. But this is going to really sound crazy, but I can watch videos of people working on tractors and stuff all day long. It's just seeing stuff taken apart, put back together. I love seeing it. That's what I do for a living. So I understand what that draw is, and the conversation that we had with Mr. Kubricki was just really important about trying to reduce some screen time in the classroom, more face-to-face with the teachers, more hands-on, getting them away from that screen, because as we all know, and I have children too at home, if we let them have a screen, they will take it and they will use it, and it will take their time, and it will, I hate to say it, but it will dumb them down in many cases. So it is up to us parents to limit it. And I really liked what Tommy Wood was talking about this evening. It was really good. And I was proud of him. He did a really good job. Lastly, the Rawson family that was here, my heart goes out to them. You know, as a school board member, when these problems arise, they go through certain channels. You get with the principal first, and you get with the superintendent or the assistant superintendent. And a lot of these, majority of these problems we don't hear about because they're taken care of at the superintendent level. And which it frustrates me, because when there's a problem, I want to know like right now. I mean, I want to know when the problem happens. I want to know what we're doing to fix it. And the reason that we're not informed of those problems is because if a situation arises and the parents or the guardians of that child are not happy with the superintendent's choice or decision, then at that point it comes to the school board, and we need to be unbiased about the situation. We need to have no opinion of the matter from the get-go, so that when they bring that to us, we see it at face value and we make a decision. So that's why we're not given that information up front. We don't know that this stuff happens. Another thing that really I think we need to get to is when something wrong happens in school, the secretiveness of it needs to go away, and the parents involved, we need to get them together and let them have a conversation together, and there needs to be some apologies made and some promises that they're going to do better with discipline or what have you. I think a lot of problems would be less of a problem. Not saying that what has happened to this young lady is at all minor. I think it's a really big issue. But my heart does go out to them. It frustrates me that I can't fix it right now in the moment. I'm sure I can speak for everyone here. If we could fix a problem right now, we would fix the problem immediately. But the fix is not allowed in schools. The real fix is not allowed in schools. And it's up to the families to teach that to their children. That's all I have.
Thanks, Mr. Sheets.
I did two quick things. I went to the Senior of the Month banquet and just wanted to say what a nice event that was. And Ms. Graham, I really commend you for, I think, understanding kind of bringing that to Madison. I think it was a fantastic event, and it was beautiful to see the relationships between the principal and the teachers and the students, and it really was a special night. And so I commend you for bringing that to Madison. It was very nicely done, and also bring the Lions Club in, and that's beautiful to see the community and the volunteers, and I like to talk about, and all those things that were there. So it was beautiful in that way. So commend you for that. And the last thing is Teacher of the Year thing. That was a lovely night. Thank you. I do have one idea about that I'd like to think about. Ms. Wyndham said, competition breeds excellence. And I think there's few truer words can be spoken. And I would like to, I think we should think about attaching some money, stipends to Teacher of the Year awards. I don't mean a lot, a couple $1,000. Going forward, not this year, but going forward, thinking out in the budget, how do we build that into the budget to award students, award teachers who win those awards? A little bit of money. I mean, it's not the money, but just the fact, $2,000 check, $3,000 check, whatever it is, it says we really appreciate what you're doing. So I'd like to just think about that as a mark of the good work that we have in teachers going forward, and to build that excellence we want to build in teachers. So it's an idea I have to think about. That's all I have.
Thank you.
I have nothing new to report other than the interactions I've recently had with both the primary and not William Wetzel, Waverly Owl, going back to my days of middle school area. But your teachers have been so amazing about communicating with parents and going out of the way to get information out to us in so many ways. And I can say that even when my son has lost stuff and needed to study, it's astounding how quickly they've found ways to get it back to him. I greatly appreciate that. I just want to share that with you. Thank you.
Sal?
I was at the walkthrough as well, and totally agree. The conversation that we had with Mr. Kabricki afterwards I love seeing the kids, but it was really meaningful to me to see that everybody's starting to see that some of the things that we thought might help us might not help us as much. So it was a really good conversation. And other than that, I don't have anything else. Thank you, Mr. Kabricki.
Mr. Reed?
Well, first of all, happy Teacher Appreciation Week. I know that I've had a lot of teachers that I've really appreciated over the years, so happy Teacher Appreciation Week to all teachers. This is my last meeting, fairly sure, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone for being welcoming and willing to talk to me about certain things, like the nuances of the whole school board thing. So I wanted to thank everyone on the board and everyone that works behind the scenes for being there throughout the year. It's been a pretty crazy year, coming off the heels of 2 other crazy years. But it's wrapping up. And this week is the last week for seniors, which is surreal to think about, but it's here. And next week's graduation. And it's crazy to think about that that'll be it. I plan on making most of it. Mr. Laundrie said it at the athletic recognition ceremony. Come out on Friday. We're playing East Rock in baseball. They've handed us our only loss in district play, so come out, watch us return the favor. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, teachers. Thank you, everybody up here at the tables. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your input and being here every meeting. I have a couple of things. I went to the walkthrough as well at Waverly Owl, And we switched walkthroughs around. She negated to share why we moved walkthroughs. But Miss Allen celebrated her birthday that day at Waverly Yale. She had spent, I forget how many. How many years? Yeah. How many birthdays? How many birthdays?
70. So.
At Waverly.
Oh, at Waverly. Oh, I was there in my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. So at Waverly, 21 as a principal, and I don't even know how many as a teacher, probably about 18. We were at we called it the Annex for a while. And then I was at the school board office for 1 year while we renovated, but 40, and most of it at Waverly.
So she
And
wanted to.
Waverly was
sorry.
in my heart, even though my location might have been a little bit different.
She wanted to celebrate her
I
70th
did.
birthday at Waverly that morning and walk into that school. So that's what we did. So
And that was
happy
fun.
belated birthday.
Well, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Kubricki, for making that a little special for us, for me.
And then the other thing that I just wanted to share really quick, I shared last meeting, the committee that is, I guess we're a subcommittee of the Do It Committee, is that right? So I promised that I would put meal bags together for our Ritter program. Ms. Fears and team have shared that they would be willing to send meals out to families when they send books out to families. And I have eight bags to share. And I have a little sheet that has what's in them. If anybody would like to take them to your churches, your Lions Club, your whatever, Rotary clubs, folks can donate these bags. It's pretty simple. It has a Chef Boyardee. It has a peanut butter cracker, a pudding, a fruit cup, a Capri Sun or juice box, a water, and a granola bar. And that will provide food for some children that may need it without needing a microwave or water or anything else. So they can eat it right out of this bag if they choose to do so, and would be full for that day. So we have put them together. You're welcome to come take an example. I will be taking an example to my church, and we need 300 bags. Is that right, Ms. Frears? We need 300. I'm sorry? That would be wonderful. 300 bags is the ultimate goal. So I fixed up 8, and there's another, about a half a case of water for you, and 2 boxes of granola bars still back there, and I spent a little bit less than $50. So it's not a terrible amount of money to put 8 to 12 together. So that's, I promised that I'd bring it, and so here it is. If anybody wants to take any, and you're welcome to. You're welcome to a bag. If you,
Thank you.
oops. There's 2, you can cut it in half.
Oh, good.
And you'll have more than 1 sheet. So anybody has any questions, let us know. You can drop them off with Miss Graham at the main office. I just made that up. Or you can get them to Miss Fears.
No pressure.
Or you can get them to Miss Fears, or I will come to churches and pick them up if you want me to come to churches and pick them up.
So just in case anybody is, can do this, do they have to have them in the bags? Can they just buy bulk snacks and bring the box of bulk snacks?
Yep, they can buy bulk. I bought extra bags. They are in Miss Wynnum's office for Miss Fears, and we will get together before July 2nd and put them together. So absolutely. You don't have to make the bags, but if you want to, you can. And we will also accept monetary donations. I will make a trip to Sam's, I'll be glad to, and get as much as we can.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions about that? Did I represent okay, Ms. Fierce? Okay. She took notes, I made the flyer. It's a team effort. That's all I have. Ms. Graham, do you have anything else?
I was just going to add that Ms. Thompson gave us a connection to the Ministerial Alliance, so I'm going to be meeting with them on May 24th to give us some more community connections and taking that sheet with me so that